Great. Hello, everyone. I am Akshay. I lead investments at StartupBuddy and Fluid Ventures. I'm very excited to start this SVE Global Demo Day. India track partnered by F50 Elevate and StartupBuddy. Just to give our viewers some introduction, SVE is one of the oldest startup communities of Silicon Valley in the Bay Area with more than 120,000 members, which include entrepreneurs, innovators, investors, and startup enthusiasts. With the pandemic, SVE has gone online and the community became global with the members joining from different parts of the world, such as Asia, Europe, and North America. Their most popular monthly startup demo has gone global now, with events attracting startups and investors across the globe. Before we get into the introduction and the other things, let me talk about a little bit about the partners as well for this event. Our global partner is F50 Elevate, a startup accelerator based out of the Bay Area. It runs cohort for seed and pre-series A startups in health tech, fintech, food tech, and deep tech sectors. Some of the alumni includes Seventh AI, Life Science, Post Wellness, Voxpop Games. The Indian partner is StartupBuddy, which is one-stop shop offering services such as incorporation of a legal entity, accounting, taxation, compliance assistance, legal assistance, and intellectual property right services to startups in India and abroad. In StartupBuddy, we also encourage young entrepreneurs and startups by being an early stage investor. Some of our portfolio companies include eSafe, Checkbook, Inner Chef, Advantage Club, and many more. Continuing with the session, today we have a panel discussion lined up for everyone on the Indian and the global ecosystem, along with the pitching session where companies from food tech, agri-tech, and remote tech sectors will be presenting to all of us. Without further ado, let me bring on the panelists and let them introduce themselves very quickly, starting with our moderator for this evening, Mr. Manish Agarwal. Manish, over to you.
Hi. Yeah, hi, this is Manish Agarwal. I'm co-founder of StartupBuddy from India, and I'm a chartered accountant by background and have had very interesting journey in the startup space, and really looking forward to this discussion. I think it's over to Pawan? Pawan, you are mute.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Pawan. I'm a partner at F50 Elevate. I am also co-founder of 3PM Ventures. Just to give a bit of my background, I'm an ex-founder. I did 2 startups in the past, then moved on to corporate world, spent 3 decades. And then for the past 5 years, I'm back in the startup space as an angel investor, mentor, advisor. And I spend time between India, Middle East, and US. Right. Looking forward to a great panel.
Good, excellent. So I think I'll request Upasna to take it forward, and we'll love to have her introduction as well.
Right. Thank you so much, StartupBuddy and F50 Elevate, especially Pawan, that I'm happy to be part of this esteemed panel with people like Ashish, Pawan, Randy, David, and James. Just to let you know a little bit about myself, I'm Upasana. I am a Toronto-based lawyer. I did some corporate commercial litigation before starting my own company called Investor Quotient Canada, Inc. Investor Quotient Canada, Inc. is a Canada-based business consulting firm which helps businesses, including startups, including enterprises from any part of the world, which are planning to move into North American market with plethora of professional services, which could be divided amongst legal, business, as well as soft landing services to launch them into the Canadian market. Our motto has been very simple. We want founders to focus on what they know the best, run their own business, while we take care of their seamless entry into the North American market. What we do is you can consider us as a professional services platform. We bring the best service providers from the Canadian market on board and manage the company's entry into the Canadian market. That's who we are, and looking forward to hearing pitching from some of the amazing companies and talk about ever expanding and very vibrant startup ecosystem in India. Thank you so much.
Randy, I think we'll request you to give a little introduction about yourself.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening. This is Randy Williams. I'm a proud founder and also CEO and member of Creative Forum. We are blessed to be 55 locations around the world, including Toronto. We're in Chennai, we're in Bangalore, and in Mumbai. And it all started in Northern California, Silicon Valley, 21 years ago. We have 2,500 fundings. I'm also a general partner. Where our members don't have time to really deep dive, we have a family of funds, and we have 200 LPs, 50 million AUM, and that is stratified between real estate, technology, and blockchain. And proud to be here today. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, James. Looking forward to hear from you. Thank you. Go ahead, please.
Thanks, Manish. My name is James Drage. I am another Canadian investor. I'm on the panel, I guess, because I used to do a lot of business in the Middle East and have had a lot of success working with Indo-Canadian entrepreneurs. And so, you know, a lot of people know that Canada has a very large Indo-Canadian population, and it's a great opportunity to test things in North America for the Indian market. And so we've done very well investing in software and mostly video game companies that are based in Vancouver, Surrey area, or Toronto, where there's large Indo-Canadian populations who build their games here, but market them almost exclusively to Indian populations around the world. And so looking forward to seeing some new companies today.
David, why don't you speak for yourself?
I think David is not there, so let's move on. Ashish.
Sure. Okay, thank you very much for inviting me in this esteemed panel. Myself, Ashish Khare, founder of digital mentoring platform called MentorCard, and also co-founder of D4DT Incorporation US, which was a platform we built it for enterprise digital transformation from anywhere to anywhere data mobility in this space. Currently, I'm looking after the entire mentoring platform, which we have built it for all the young entrepreneurs, early stage or as students who can come and have access to world-class mentors across the globe. And we started operations in India, and now we are also entering into Australia and Indonesia market.
Excellent. I'm not sure who's Anisha Goel, but maybe the
Anisha is one of the founders for the startup we'll be pitching. So we'll skip on her, and then you know, we with the session.
Good. So if we start the session, I think let me take the plunge and ask a question from James. James, I saw your profile. It was very interesting. And the only thing I remember reading during my school days was algae. And probably you have some interest in, you know, investing in algae-related organizations. Would love to hear from you, because that is something probably we have left it in the textbooks of the school. But it would be interesting to know, you know, how that can be leveraged, especially in countries in Southeast Asia, including India.
Yeah, I'm not sure there'll be people on the call or pitching today that have any interest in that. But so algae or algal technologies, people often think of it as, you know, pond scum or the stuff that grows in your swimming pool. But you know, we do a lot of investing in algae, especially early stage. And it is, you know, there are a number of algae companies in India. You know, algae is used in India, I think, predominantly for water and carbon capture, so cleaning water. And also carbon capture, but it is increasingly being used, you know, in pharmaceuticals as foodstuff, especially protein. You know, there's now algal flour, which has no gluten in it. It's used in cosmetics, bioplastics, And so, you know, almost anything you can think of in the chemical world that is petroleum based. Petroleum typically comes from algae after many, many years. And so as technology is advancing, we're finding better ways to grow algae, both outdoors in raceway or ponds and indoors in photobioreactors. And so, you know, the one thing I'll say about algae is, you know, it does move well from the lab to early commercial testing, but scale up is very expensive. And so typically, you know, we will seed a, you know, pre-commercial idea, sometimes even pre-proof of concept, and then you need to move it on very quickly. So although it's a big interest for us, I'm not sure there's many people on the call that will be interested in algae. You know, the big interest in algae is because we do see it as meeting a lot of the UN SDG goals, that, you know, it's not just an investment that can make some money, but we think algae has a lot of purpose and impact potential. So I'm glad you asked about it, but, you know, I'm sure people are much more interested in, you know, apps, video games, and other areas that we invest in that are a little more founder friendly.
Well, I promise you that, you know, I'll make sure that I learn about this more in next couple of years, because it is something, it has never struck to me that it can have a possible commercial value, and so good to hear from you. I think let me ask a question from Upasna, because Upasna, I am sure you have not only access to North America ecosystem of startups, but companies maybe in Southeast Asia, Europe, GCC countries as well. So how have you seen in last many years, you know, interest of companies to come and start growing their business in North America?
I think so. There has been a considerable increase in the company's interest to launch themselves in the North American market. The reason being that is, as the world is shrinking technically, with the kind of products the companies are making in India or in Southeast Asia, they are usually not the products which can only be launched in those markets. These are the products which can be launched in any part of the world. So, and if you see a typical trajectory or a growth of a company, there is some kind of an added value or a respect comes along once the company is a North American company. And that's a very typical thing, because up till now we have seen most of the unicorns coming out of North America. And another trend is because of the taxation also. Many people like to have their companies, their parent company based out of North America or Singapore versus them in the Indian market or the countries where they are in. So the trend has been there from the beginning, and the reason these companies want to move could be several. Some want to launch their product into the North American market. Some want to have their headquarters in the North American market, and they want to bring the entire other corporate structure they have in the various other parts of the world under their North American company. So it could be taxation reason, there could be a reason to launch their product in the North American market. And another interesting trend we have been seeing is that North America somehow has still pioneered themselves when it comes to AI and machine learning, artificial intelligence. So some of the companies have exactly developed their products, maybe an MVP or a prototype, but they know the amount of grants, government funding, or the university collaborations which are available in the North American market are much more than what they're going to get in their home country. So I've also seen a trend, a lot of companies wanting to move to North America for the R&D, so that they can collaborate with the universities here, with the subject matter experts here, or delve into the incubators and accelerators, which have been active for a very long time in the North American market, to get the right collaboration they need to enhance their product, even though they think it's not the right market for their product, and they want to continue to keep their product in the South Asian or the African market. Just to give an example, we are currently working with an amazing company from Vietnam. They have developed this infrared-based thermometer, which could be put around, say around 2 or 3 feet away, totally without handheld. And it can really help people to measure their temperature when they're entering into high traffic area, like a bank branch, like a mall. Because up till now, the solutions which are available in the market are either handheld devices, or if you are a very rich enterprise corporation, you can spend around $20,000 and have an infrared camera, which is there for a bigger organization. Now, they don't want to launch their product in the North American market per se right now, because they know there is enough competition, but they want to get more develop or enhance their technology and want to keep their focus in East Asia and Africa. So the trend has always been there, companies planning to move to North America, and it has been vibrant. But the three major tangents, I'm just going to summarize what I see, is either companies moving to tap into the North American market for their product, get the R&D to enhance their product, or to restructure the entire corporate restructuring to get their parent company up in North America, because it brings that enhancement that they can reach the world better than what they can do with the parent company being in their home country.
Good. That was very educative. And now my next question would be to Ashish. And Ashish, you decided to launch yourself not only in India as a market, but parallelly you are launching it in probably Indonesia and Australia. Now that's very interesting choice of countries that you have chosen. And I'll be interested to know what kind of support are you able to garner in Australia and Indonesia as you have prioritized these markets to be for launching your startup. So please share your thoughts. Thanks.
Sure. So Indonesia is, you see, it's the fifth largest population country if you really talk about, and a lot of localized languages there. But they are the one who actually made Instagram, very popular in the earlier stage of social media when it started. So technology adoption is fast there, and the local support from the partner which we got was very, very, futuristic in nature. So they are into a lot of B2B business, and we wanted to get into B2B, Indonesia, and that's why we opted for it. And we plan to launch in across multiple universities and onboard the B2B2C students from, those areas. The startup ecosystem also in Indonesia is flourishing, is increasing. Entrepreneurship has been promoted by the government a lot in nature, if you talk about. In fact, our app was demonstrated to one of the ministry there, and that is taken a very, very positive way. So that was the reason of Indonesia. In Australia, what we realized is that a lot of students, international students, goes to Australia for education. Like only from India itself, it goes around 1 lakh per every year. And we realized that for international student to cater, that's the best market. And we got the good local support, because again, the startup ecosystem and the local support is good there, and partner is great. So we thought we are doing it there. We did a little survey in Australia, and it was well adopted and given a positive feedback in terms of from our TG target group. And that's another reason of doing that. So the idea is that B2B2C and B2C in Australia, and B2B in Indonesia, and B2C in India, and in case we have this all mix will help us to scale faster into all kind of segments, and while the product remain one.
Okay, thank you very much. My next question is to Pawan. Pawan, since you have quite an exposure to the North America market, and you have seen the ecosystem, how far is India from that ecosystem, and what does India needs to do to start breeding innovation and to come up with startups, which can become quite competent?
Right. Thanks, Manish. I think, India leads in technology space, right? If you look into the global services sector, India is the leader. Almost 60+% of the global services happen out of India, whether it is, offshore or on-site or whatever. That means we are very well integrated in terms of technology competencies, global practices, global systems and all. So obviously India has a huge advantage in terms of service sectors. And maybe that is the reason why we see a huge trend of younger generation who want to get into entrepreneurship right from their college education, 5 years of college education, rather than looking for jobs, which is a very good sign both for internal consumption as well as serving the global needs. And another big advantage we bring is technical. In addition to technical competencies, is the costs. Right, we are able to deliver a highly competitive, effective, and highly productive services at a cost which is far better than any other region of the world. So I think it is going to be the next 2 decades are going to be Indian decades. It all depends upon how we are able to quickly integrate into the global ecosystems and reach out to some of these fast emerging markets. For example, Asia is supposed to produce one of the massive middle class growth will happen in Asia in the next decade. As Ashish just now said, like Indonesia, Australia, all these markets are pretty ripe for innovation. Same Philippines and all. There are huge opportunities there. And Indian founders are just limited by their imagination and their risk appetite, right? Eventually, someone really need to take risk. One wants to venture into these unknown areas and bring some innovation and deliver some value. Similarly, the global advanced markets also hold a big opportunity because we have cost advantage, we have competitive advantage in terms of delivering better services, quicker services, and at a very compelling cost. So those markets also hold huge opportunities. So in terms of integrating Indian startups into the global thing, it starts with an ambition. And then, of course, we have a lot of companies like Upasana's companies and a lot of other companies like F50 and all who are willing to help these startups to get into those ecosystems, understand these ecosystems. The thing is, one need not be physically present to do a business. Like Ashish is sitting in India and doing business in Indonesia and Australia. Similarly, you can do partnerships, you can do collaborations. There are many ways to get into all these markets at a very insignificant cost, but at the same time create a huge impact and derive huge value for the company.
Thank you. That's interesting. And did Randy say that they are present in 255 places in the world? He mentioned 3 specific places in India, if I'm correct: Chennai, Bangalore, and Mumbai. So, Randy, I would be most interested to know: are you sourcing your LPs from India, or how are you looking at India as an opportunity for the business?
We entered India approximately 10 years ago. Our first chapter was in Bangalore. Your question is about LPs. It's a membership community throughout the world of our 55 locations. So members join Kretzer Forum and they capitalize the companies with their own dollars. If they want to be in the funds, that's called Kretzer Capital. Yes, we have LPs from India. We probably have about 40 LPs in our LP stack of 200. But primarily, what our Indian chapters do, which is so fantastic, is obviously they curate them, they support them, they nurture them, and they fund them, and then they travel. And a lot of our companies come to Silicon Valley. We have 4 chapters in Silicon Valley region: San Francisco, North Bay, Silicon Valley, and East Bay. And so we are a conduit back and forth. And getting back to comments about technology in India, we would love to see companies that want to be holistic and want sales and marketing in America. We're using VAs, virtual assistants, throughout India right now for a lot of our chapter presidents here in the United States. But we love sharing deal flow. And more importantly, we want to share resources between our chapters, and they're pro bono. So a company comes to us, yes, we will fund them, hopefully, not always, but conversely, we fund them. We'll give them resources and introductions. We have a wave technology companies out of India right now. And that's getting a lot of support in North America. So we, a long time ago, I decided, probably 20 years ago when I started Kretzer Forum, I said, the world's flat. There's great deal flow everywhere. And I don't want to be precocious thinking Silicon Valley has the best deal flow. It doesn't. And I want to make sure we don't miss anything. And of our 2,300 fundings around the world, we're starting to see India really pick up on the funding side, and more importantly, enjoy the traveling, so to speak. In the virtual environment, we have done this for the last 6 months, and we're finding on the virtual environment, our members have time and also the ability to really digest and fund a company. Whereas before, just like yourselves, everybody's so frenetic, everybody's moving around too much. Now they can just calm down and really analyze the company before investing it. And we have a rule at Kretzer, when you become a member, we ask you not to invest up to 6 months because we have so much stimuli and so much great deal flow around the world. We really want you to be careful.
That's very interesting. So Akshay and Pawan, how much time do we have, or shall we now? I believe the startups are waiting. What do you suggest?
I think we can
Yeah,
take.
actually, Manish, I think we should dive into the demo
The pitch.
because we lost some time
Yeah.
and they're waiting.
Right,
And
right.
maybe after the demo, we can again catch up.